Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Sarah Martin with The Contoured Chemist. If you can hear my son playing basketball in his room, forgive me. It's summer. I get no alone time now, so it is what it is. We're gonna be doing a full week of skincare cycling. I'm gonna walk you through my process, what I use in a week, kind of explain my schedule, if you will, for those of you that have been asking. So if you want to check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. So I'm asked all the time, Sarah, how can I target all of my concerns without my skin freaking out? If you have skin like mine, where you're concerned with aging gracefully and using all of the proper actives in order to anti-age, if you will, or if you have acne-prone skin and rosacea, or dark spots and sensitive skin, there are so many different combinations. Sometimes you might need specific active products in your regimen that you might not be able to use at the same time as something else you're trying to target. So this is my solution. I didn't come up with it. I will be honest, I did this for my skincare long before the term skincare cycling was trendy. I just took it from a place of, I can't use this with this, so I'm gonna use this in the morning, this at night, and I'm gonna skip a day so that I'm not applying competitive actives at the same time. To me, it was just kind of common sense. You skip a day. You don't use it every single day if you're building up a tolerance to, say, a retinoid, for example. So there's a lot of different ways you can set up your schedule. I will tell you what I am using and what works for me, and I put it all in a giant planner for the month of June so that you guys can see it's really not that difficult. You don't have to have every single day of the month completely something different or a completely new routine. You can use the same more or less products every day and then just trade out a serum, for example, for whatever you're trying to target at that point for that night. So this is my skincare cycling calendar for the month of June. I'm gonna turn it this way so you guys can read it. And all I did was split it up so that I'm doing 2 to 3 nights of a retinoid. I'm doing 2 exfoliation nights, and I'm doing 2 to 3 recovery nights. But I kind of leave it a little open-ended because if you have kind of trickier skin like I do, my skin reacts. In fact, you'll see in these videos, I'm having another eye dermatitis breakout reaction. My skin has been very sensitive, and so I have to have a flexible enough schedule that I can adjust. I truly don't believe in being really rigid with your skincare. I believe in listening to your skin, and you can tell before obviously anyone else if your skin might not have liked something you tried, if you're feeling a little sensitive in an area, something was a little too spicy, whatever the case may be. And since I am always testing skincare, I have to be really careful how I do it because I have reactive skin, because my skin is way more sensitive now than it was 10 years ago. So this is what works for me right now. It is summer and I am sweating a lot. I'm wearing a lot of SPF. I'm outside all the time. And so I do need my exfoliation nights. That is when I will use a BHA, which is the only thing that's gonna decongest my pores from lots of sweat and the excess sebum that is produced for everyone in the summer. We just produce more oil. Even if you're not oily, you probably noticed that. And so you do need to make sure you're using some kind of BHA, which is the only acid that is oil soluble, in order to clear that gunk out. And if you break out like where your sunglasses hit like I do, then you know what I'm talking about. My Sundays are always a exfoliant night. That is a chemical exfoliant. I did not even put on this calendar my normal daily cure because I do that in the morning when I shower every 2 to 3 days. Again, depending on how my skin is feeling. I can literally touch the texture of my skin and I know if my skin feels dull, a little bit more of a buildup of dead skin. Like I know my skin enough to know it's a cure day. I need to cure all of that goodness off. I do typically, because I have shared with this before, if I have an exfoliation, these are all my nights. I do not put my mornings on my calendar. My mornings are the same always. So I'll get to that. But all of my nights is when you cycle. You don't necessarily need to cycle in the mornings. I find it just to be too much. I keep my mornings very short and sweet. It's usually when I am getting my kids ready to get ready for the day or to leave. And so I like to keep those simple when I can. These are just for my nights so I don't forget, because I'll be honest, in the summer, I forget what day of the week it is sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, what is today? It's today Wednesday. What did I do last night? Yes, I cannot remember what I did the day before. I can't be alone in that, right? So I like to exfoliate. Sometimes this is using a peel pad. Sometimes this is a mask. Sundays are typically the days I try to give myself a little bit more self-care. And so I like exfoliation that night because sometimes I do like to multi-mask, use an exfoliating mask, something like that. But you don't have to do that. You can simply use whatever you use the other night of the week. You'll see in my video, I have found my holy grail serum and I love it. And some days I don't feel like I need more exfoliation. So on that Sunday, I will just use that serum. It is simple, easy, and fast, and I just get it done. Typically that next morning is usually when I like to shower. I use my cure in the shower. That gets all of the dead skin cells off my face that acid broke the bonds between and allowed it to loosen up so that I could manually get it off. Cure is the only thing that I found for my sensitive skin. I don't like physical, gritty beads or any kind of texture like that because my skin is very sensitive. I do have rosacea and I feel like I want to minimize the irritation potential at all costs. And you'll see that I do that a lot. So my next night is my retinoid night. Now, this is about 3 days a week. That's typically what I like to do. Even though I've been using retinoids for years, I find my skin still needs those barrier days and I still need nights without any retinoid. Now, depending on where you are in your retinoid journey, you might be using it 5-7 days a week, every single day. You might even be able to use it with an acid. Obviously, I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be because my skin is that sensitive, but it depends on your skin and how long you've been using one. And again, you have to work your way up to that, starting with 1 day a week, moving to 2, 3, 4. And I highly recommend following a schedule like this if you've never used one before to avoid all of the retinoid uglies, which is the skin peeling, redness, irritation to where you can't even wear makeup because it is that textured. No makeup is gonna look good on peeling skin, correct? So my typical night is using my Medigate, which is my strongest form of retinol, which is what I'm using on a consistent basis. The next night's gonna be barrier recovery. As a sensitive skin girly, this is crucial for me. And I do feel like with mature skin, retinoids are not only for mature skin, they do everything that could possibly be an issue with your skin, from acne to dark spots, anti-aging. There's nothing a retinoid can't do. But a barrier recovery, if your barrier is compromised for any reason, you're not going to be able to follow this kind of schedule. And so it's really important to keep it happy and healthy. That's something I definitely struggle with now that I have eczema. So that is crucial for me. I do not skip it. And that is sometimes a very easy night where I just wash, use, a peptide serum and a barrier repair something and call it a day. Use my most hydrating creams at night. Sometimes I slug. It is optional how many steps you do every night, but I do recommend at least having one barrier day a week. The more sensitive you are, if you have rosacea, you might go all the way up to 3 barrier nights a week. The next night is my, what do I call it? My flexible day. That is the day I keep in there that I can do depending on what my skin needs. So my skin is feeling great. It's looking great. It's feeling really strong. I have no compromised issues, no sensitivities. I will go in with either my Medigate Retinoid, or I will pick, which I share in my video, a retinol, which is a little bit weaker, but more targeted for my main concern, which is dark spots. In the summer, since dark spots are very hard to ever get rid of, let's be honest, it's an ongoing thing. In the summer, due to the amount of sun exposure we typically get, they are even harder. So mine is a maintenance process in the summer. My goal is so that they don't get any darker. You'll see in my videos, I typically use Mother Science, something from their line every single day. I make sure I at least use it once a day. So the Molecular Hero Serum is my hero ingredient. My morning routine, I typically will use this. If I use it in the morning, I don't always use it at night. Sometimes I will just use it at night. And that's when the retinol, which has retinol and again, this malisasin ingredient, I'll use that on these nights because that is my biggest concern. Keeping my dark spots from not getting any worse in the summer with a lot of heat exposure. Because dark spots for me personally, my largest one, which you can even see through this makeup, is not necessarily sun damage. It is hormonal, it is melasma, and it happens to get darker in heat, not just sun exposure. So I typically will use this to just help in every regard, or at least the cream or the retinol. It's like the one product line I can't live without. Now, if I use that in the morning and I don't want to use a retinoid that day because maybe my skin's feeling a little sensitive, I also can just keep it a barrier night. Sometimes I get a product that I'm dying to try because it's something new to me or something I'm really excited about, a new launch, and I will keep that day for testing new products. By keeping everything else very much the same, I will be able to tell if I have a reaction or something bad or something great from that product because I'm consistent everywhere else, if that makes sense. And with everything, anytime you're using something new, you want to slowly introduce it. So once a week is much better than just starting off using it every single day, because it can, if you have sensitive skin like me, you can have issues, right? Into exfoliation again. So if I used pads, say that day, I'm gonna use my favorite serum on this night. And then again, that next morning, I'm gonna use my cure. Back to a retinoid and back to barrier. So this is just my general guideline for how I set up my month. So, but that doesn't mean it's set in stone. If my skin is sensitive, I'm telling you, I will just leave the exfoliation, leave the retinoid completely out, and I will just go straight into a barrier recovery day. Again, it's more important to make sure your barrier is taken care of, and you're just gonna create more irritation if you just keep trying to exfoliate on a compromised barrier. So know your own skin. If you're seeing any signs of redness, flaking, normal skincare is kind of burning when you're putting it on, that is your sign. Something inflamed your barrier. And the problem is it could literally be anything from a new makeup product to a sunscreen. It could be anything. And so you just have to baby your skin for a few days. Take a barrier. Sometimes, depending on how bad it is, it might take up to full 2 weeks to repair your barrier, which is what I've been doing. And I show you some tips and tricks in the upcoming videos, show you how you can still use some of your favorite products and even some ways you can still stick to your schedule without maybe causing that potential more irritation. And so I kind of just have written out here evening, morning, and this is like the absolute most. I will be honest. Most days, I don't necessarily use a red light every morning. You'll see I did a really quick morning routine. Now, if I am not rushing out the house early in the morning, especially right now in the summer when my skin is irritated, the first thing I'm gonna do is cleanse, put on my LED red light therapy mask. I see more benefits from that, and I tend to forget it at night when I'm tired, but I really like using it in the morning. You wanna do it on clean, dry skin, put on that red light while you're brewing your coffee, and then you can go in with the rest of your routine. So you can use any devices at that time. I'll be honest, usually I'm pretty lazy in the summer. I will mostly just use my red light if I'm gonna use anything, depending on if my skin looks real rough. Like if I look dry when I wake up, then I will load on some toners, all the hydration I can get, and then go in with bad boy, vitamin C, if I really want the best protection, because both of these are antioxidants. I get asked all the time, do I need a vitamin C if I have the Molecular Hero Serum? Technically, no, if you're using it as an antioxidant or for dark spots, but if you're looking for collagen production, vitamin C is your girl. So I just use moisturizer, sunscreen, night, same thing, double cleanse, toner, then you do your cycling, whatever that is. Then you can, whatever your focus is. My focus has been peptide serums. It's the one serum you can use with anything at any time in any routine. So if you have a peptide serum you love, I have them all over the place. I always add with peptides, unless I'm just in a super big hurry. And you know what? It's okay to skip one. My focuses for this summer are dark spots, neck and chest. I'm really bad about neglecting this area, and then I tend to remember in summer when more skin is exposed and I'm like, I really need to take it lower. You should take all your skincare all the way down here every night. And then I'm trying to also be really good about using my lash serum, because as I've been testing more and more mascaras, I realize I really need to be consistent with the lash serum. And then devices. So trying my best, but our summer has been very busy so far. I'm hoping July will be easier, but as of right now, that is my June cycle. Now I'm gonna take you through what a typical week looks like for me on each night. Everything I'm showing used in the video, I will link and put in the description box below the video, but I'm also going to link to my favorites from that category, because I'll be honest, all these things can stay the same. You don't necessarily need a different cleanser every night, anything like that. But if you like to have options, or if you have favorites from the same category, you don't have to be redundant and pile them on top of each other. I have a lot of peptide serums I like. Sometimes I will cycle those as well. I'll use one day, I'll use this one the next week, whatever the case may be. There are a lot of really great options at different price points for every single category. And I know you guys have seen many of my favorites, so I will link my very favorites for each category as well, in case you're just needing to look for something in particular. Without further ado, here is my week. Good morning, friends. Today I am in a hurry, so we're gonna do our quick and dirty skincare for the morning. I'm gonna start off with my micellar water. When I feel like my skin needs a little bit extra, and I'm not just removing makeup, I go in with the Bio Effect. Just a reusable round all over, just to remove any remaining oils or skincare from the night before, while also hydrating my skin at the same time. For my quickest routine, I usually just throw on a hydrating vitamin C. This is my favorite milky one from Dam. Since vitamin C is an antioxidant and helps build collagen, I do tend to use, this one's a derivative, so it's good for when my skin is sensitive, and it's best to use those antioxidants during the day. Targeted serum is going to be for my hyperpigmentation, especially in the summer. This is a must have me not to skip. It is also an antioxidant, so if you want to skip your vitamin C, you can, and you're still going to get protection from free radical damage of the sun. And then I'm going to pick kind of more of a tinted, glowy SPF because I'm not even wearing makeup today. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of evening out. In Beauty, the Mineral Sun Glow. This one is in shade medium, and this is going to double as my moisturizer. And you just want to make sure you get enough to give you that protection. And this one is super hydrating and glowy if you like that glowy finish. Since it's mineral, I can put it even on my eyelids and it's not gonna burn my eyes if I start sweating outside, because it is a hot one today. I'm just gonna finish up with a little lip serum. After I finish my coffee, and that is it. Now to take my boys to sports. All right, friends, it is officially exfoliation night. I was at baseball sweating, lots of sunscreen reapplication all weekend. My face needs this right now. This is my reset, kind of clear my pores, and this is my acid exfoliation night. So first of all, we're always gonna start the same way. We're gonna double cleanse. You can use these same cleansers you use every single night. This is sometimes where I am testing new products and new launches. So I'm gonna use the Dew, their newest ethereal facial cleansing oil. I've actually been using this quite a while because I was sent the lab sample, and it is beautiful. It is one of the only oils I truly feel like will remove a full face, eye makeup, everything, and sunscreen, and you don't necessarily have to double cleanse. But for me, I'm gonna avoid the lash area so it doesn't remove my lashes, and this will remove my sunscreen and my makeup for the day. Don't forget to get some water and really emulsify any kind of oil or balm cleanser. You can tell I've got some swatches still on my hand. Make sure you really are breaking all of that down before you go to remove it. So to clean my lashes and around my eyes, this is my arsenal: just a Q-tip, a disposable spoolie, and a cotton round, and good old micellar water. So I'm gonna clean the lids as close down to the lash line as I can get. Around the eyes, and then you can use that cotton swab to remove any remaining liner if you wore any. And then if you do wear eyeshadow, you might realize it's kind of hard to keep your lashes looking really black all the time. So I love being able to dip my spoolie completely in my micellar water, and then you can brush through top and bottom to remove any residual eyeshadow that's maybe fallen. You can also get an actual eyelash cleaning kit, but it's really not necessary if you have one of these. For step 2, I'm gonna use one of my favorite cleansers tonight. This is Plasma Wash from Experiment. Because it is so hydrating, it's great for an exfoliation night. If you find chemical exfoliants kind of dry you out a little bit, I'm just gonna add some water. Again, I'm avoiding my eyes. All right, now that your face is clean, let it dry. There are a lot of different acids, if you will. You can use a toner, you can use a serum, you can use pads or masks. It's kind of just a personal preference thing. I will say, as someone who's been suffering with irritation around the eyes dermatitis, sensitive skin, all of those things, I notice a huge difference if I make sure my skin is fully dried, because remember, damp skin will allow any kind of active to penetrate deeper and therefore increases your potential for irritation. Okay, so if you have sensitive skin, just make sure you let your face dry down first, because I've been testing some different acids and I made that mistake, and that is why my eyes are the way they are right now. So I'm going to create a barrier. Anytime you're using anything strong that maybe you've had perioral dermatitis before, anything like that, create a barrier, put down a moisturizer, eye cream, whatever the case may be, to kind of protect that sensitive area. So I'm gonna go in with Dew Oracle, because I know this one doesn't have any super strong actives that irritate my eyes, and I can use it. It's a really nice, like, lightweight gel formulation. And so I'm gonna put it all around my eyes. And so when I go in with my acid, because I know that skincare travels up to 1 inch, it will kind of protect that area so that this area around my eyes that's already irritated can actually handle the strength of an acid. Now that my skin in this area is dry, I'm gonna go in with my acid of choice, because this one is absolutely incredible. Mandelic is something I feel like I used to not see in a lot of skincare products. And I love the fact that it has a property that acts as like an AHA and BHA, which is really rare. So AHAs are what's going to kind of loosen up those dead skin cells so that your skin cell turnover will increase. It's going to reveal more glowing skin, take away that dull look. That's what we need as we age, because that process slows down. But then it also has BHAs, which my nose was so broken out this morning. I need BHAs because that's the only thing that can go down into the pore, because it's oil soluble. So just think, your pores are filled with oil, sebum, all of that stuff. You need something oil loving to actually penetrate the pore and help decongest it. This will do both, yet it's also gentle. So if you have sensitive skin, I'm telling you, this is why this has become a holy grail for me. You can use 1 to 3 pumps. I'm gonna go in with 2, and I am gonna avoid the eye area because it irritates my eyes right now when I have this flare up. But I love the serum texture because it's super easy. I'm just gonna throw it on, and then I'm just gonna go walk away, and I'm gonna let it kind of just do its thing for about 5 minutes, completely dry down. So that way it's nothing I put on top of it is going to affect it. And I will wake up tomorrow, my skin will be glowing again. It's magical. So after you've given that acid serum enough time to dry down, truly you could go in with the rest of however many serums you want to use. I like to keep things simple on acid nights because I don't want any irritation potential, but a peptide serum is completely safe. It's not going to react in any way. So usually I'll go in with a peptide, or I just finish it up with a nice moisturizer and I'm good to go. So tonight I'm gonna go in with my old faithful when my eye is peeling like this, and this is the Lipicar AP Plus Triple Repair Moisturizing Cream. I discovered this during my last eczema flare-up. So this is great for the driest of skin, and I'm also gonna use it where I'm flaky. And then I'm just gonna finish up with my lash serum and my neck cream. And there you go. That is Exfoliation Night, short and sweet. Tonight is Retinoid night for me, and my eczema dermatitis is not happy. So I'm gonna show you guys how I can still use my retinoids without making my face freak out any more than it needs to. So you can probably tell I did not wear makeup today, only sunscreen. So this is a great time that you can either keep it real simple using micellar water. I'm gonna use one of my favorite cleansers that I feel like removes my sunscreen like a micellar, but also gives me a little bit more cleaning power. That is the outset. It is actually called a Gentle Micellar Antioxidant Cleanse. This brand's now at Sephora. It is really good if you have sensitive skin like me. This is going to be my only cleanse. So the next step is not something I normally do, but since I am so irritated right now, and some of you guys might also have the same issue, if you have seborrheic dermatitis, I can never say that word, I'm gonna go in with this Vanicream Z-Bar, just a little bit. It comes in like an actual bar of soap, and I'm gonna use this just where I'm having this reaction, which is like my hairline and on my eyelids. It is so fun, you guys. So fun. So now that my skin is clean and dry, you can go in with your retinoid serum here, depending on which stage you are in your retinoid process and what type you're using, strength, all of those things. I'm gonna share what I'm doing currently with this so that I can still use my favorite retinoid that is a little bit stronger, if you will. You can always use something as a barrier so that it's not going to irritate your skin. So if you are, say you're full force going in with your retinoid and you have for a long time and you don't want to just like quit using it, but say you have a reaction to something or you damage your barrier from maybe using something a little bit too strong like an acid or something like that, here's a good trick. You can either use any kind of moisturizer. I like to use a lighter weight one or like a gel type moisturizer, but ever since this launched, this is my go-to. So I'm gonna use the Prequel half and half. This is peptides plus ceramides, so I'm getting my peptides as well, so I don't have to use an additional serum for that. But I love that this is gonna create just enough of a barrier for me personally that once I put on my retinoid, it's not gonna spread up near my eyes. So I'm gonna put this all the way over the irritated areas, and I find this one really soothing as well. I've been having a lot of skin irritations, and let me tell you, this is one thing I can count on not to ever irritate me again. Then I can go in with a very gentle eye cream. Normally, if my eyes are not like this, I will use something with a retinoid in it, especially on retinoid nights, but usually every night. So this Beauty of Joseon one is a retinol. That is gentle, but right now I'm just babying my face. So I'm taking extra precautions, but I like using that one at night so that I'm actually getting some anti-aging around my eyes. Or like I showed before, just using a different one like the Dew gel kind of to create that barrier. Since I'm so red and irritated tonight, I'm gonna go an extra step and I'm gonna go ahead and put this on first before my retinoid, just so that I know for a fact this retinoid is not going to be able to penetrate that area in any way, shape, or form, because I'm gonna have something like really occlusive over it. This is the Prequel Reactive Skin Solutions 5% Ectoin, I can never say that word either, cream. This is literally made for dermatitis breakouts, reactions like this. So it is a very interesting texture. It's kind of like an ointment and kind of like a balm, but I am just gonna put it where I almost have like broken skin, if you will, which is several places. It's just kind of like a protective measure. You can kind of tell where I'm really red, and that's gonna just like save me overnight. I've been using this. It's really good when my face gets to this point. Another option, if you do not want to use something all over as like a barrier, if you will, you can go in with a weaker form of a retinoid. And I do this a lot on those mid-week days where I'm like, okay, I'm either gonna focus on my barrier or focus on a retinoid for a specific concern, or if I'm testing something. So this is what I would use if I'm wanting to maybe just be like, okay, I'm not going to use my strong retinoid. I'm going to pick a different one for a concern. My favorite go-to anytime I don't use a retinol is going to be this one from Mother Science. It is called Retinol Synergist. It is a weaker retinoid, but it has that amazing malisasin, the dark spot magical ingredient that I swear by. And so this is kind of like a 2-in-1. I do like using stronger retinols because I feel like it's better on the anti-aging spectrum. But again, this has great ingredients for my dark spots. And then it also has the retinol in it. So it is a 2-in-1. I could also use my retinol and my just straight malisasin, the molecular hero serum. But if you want something that has them both in it for night and to stick to this one during the day, which is typically what I do, is I'll use this in the daytime, the Retinol Synergist will have it all. So I do use this a lot on nights that isn't a regular retinoid night, even barrier nights. If I feel like my dark spot is getting darker, I will throw in this on those nights. I do feel like it has everything from anti-aging to dark spot. Retinol does it all. It is technically weaker than my typical one, but I like having it as an option, okay? So if you have dark spots, it is absolutely incredible. Another one that's really good for dark spots doesn't have malisasin, but it does have a lot of other really great tyrosinase inhibitors, as well as mandelic acid, which is one of my favorite acids as well, to kind of get off that dead skin cells. So kojic acid, licorice root, tranexamic acid, all of these things that are kind of like encompassed in one product. So this is fantastic. Now I know I talk about dark spots a lot because that is my main concern after aging. Remedy also has one for aging that again is loaded with just a really fantastic ingredient profile that I also find very non-irritated. So for days when I'm having skin issues, I a lot of times will grab this Remedy line because everything is really well formulated. Ferulic acid, retinol, this one also has retinaldehyde in it. The only concern is that I don't know the percentages for Remedy like I do some of these other brands. Arginine, glycolic acid, Matrixyl 3000. This one is really well formulated. They also have one for pore size. So if you are oily and that's your biggest concern is that you're kind of needing decongestion at the same time, I would recommend that one for you. So I already used a barrier, so I'm not going to use this one tonight, but I am going to go ahead and go in with my holy grail retinol, which is stronger than retinol, but not as strong as tretinoin. Tret is just too strong for me personally. I've tried to use it numerous times. But since I have so many other skin issues, I just don't think it's in the cards for me at this time. So I am at Crystal Retinol 10. I love this brand because it is so well formulated and stable. And one of the biggest issues with retinol products that isn't really talked about is that it's hard to keep that ingredient stable. So this one wins all the awards because of stability and the fact that you can start really low and gradually go up every time you finish a tube. So I am on 10, they go up to 20, even 24, I believe now. So now that I have like a barrier down and my face is fully dried, because again, damp skin, even from this, will cause this to penetrate deeper, therefore it can increase irritation, which is literally right now what I'm trying to avoid. I'm going to be real careful. Pea-sized amount of any retinol product, and you use the dot method to spread it. Don't go past your orbital bone. That's how you can get a lot of irritation in that area. Unless you have advanced to the level where this is your eye cream. They do have a separate retinol eye cream, to be honest, that is meant for eyes. So I wouldn't recommend that, but a lot of people that use Try It on their face will use something like this for their neck, since the neck skin is very different. But I love this method because it allows you to use a very small amount and yet get it everywhere it needs to be. And I am avoiding this area and nowhere closer than this because skincare travels an inch overnight. So just keep that in mind. After your retinoid is on, that can be your first serum step. You can do any of the other optional serums. So if dark spots is not your concern, if you didn't use one, you can also use this. You can also go in with a peptide at this point, eye cream, neck, all the things, or you can keep it really simple. Cleanse, retinoid, always moisturize after, since retinoids tend to dry out the skin. I love the Astora. I've said it time and time again, especially when my skin is sensitive. It's got those little capsules, and I apply this everywhere. Another brand that's finally in Sephora now, and I don't have to buy it overseas. So normally at the very end, after your moisturizer, it's optional to slug. I don't recommend slugging over retinoid products. Again, it can increase irritation. So make sure you're sticking to slugging, optional if your skin needs it, if you're dry, if your barrier is impaired. Use that on your recovery nights, your barrier nights. And there you go, there's retinoid night. It's finally time for barrier night, my absolute favorite night of the week. Starting off with the Bioderma micellar water. This is to remove any eye makeup around the eyes. And I usually just run it across the face to start the makeup removal process. And then I put some on a cotton round to get off any remaining liner. Then going in with the Pre-Glens cleansing oil. This is one of my very favorite cleansing oils. Don't forget to add some water and fully emulsify it so it can break down all of that makeup and sunscreen. Then removing the first cleanse with a microfiber cloth. Now going in with the second cleanse, which is good old Vanicream Gentle Facial Cleanser. When in doubt, this is what I use. Emulsifying. And again, removing with a cloth. First going in with this Patchology Calm and Protect Micro Mist as my toner. Then of course this Skin 1004 Centella Ampule. This is my ride or die anytime I have skin irritation, especially on barrier nights. Then the Naturium Multipeptide Advanced Serum, one of my favorite peptide serums that never irritates my skin. Then for my daily dose of Malisazen, we're going in with the Mother Science Molecular Genesis Barrier Repair Moisturizer. And some nights I really like double it up when I'm feeling dry with the Dew Instant Angel, which is a very lipid-rich moisturizer. Last but not least, the Cicaplast Balm, which is a soothing skin protectant, also amazing to slug with. And then going in with this Neostrata Triple Firming Neck Cream. Then the Swede Pro Eyelash Serum, which is prostaglandin free. Then ending with a couple of products from Womaness. First, the Let's Neck. This is a neck and chest serum meant to help elasticity, firmness, and strengthen the skin's moisture barrier. And then last but not least, on the body, the Works, which is a smoothing all over body cream for crepey skin. A summer staple. That's it. Okay, friends, I hope that was somewhat helpful in kind of seeing what I do in a typical week, how I can adjust depending on if I have a lot of time or if I just need to get it done, because we all have those nights that we're really tired. Just don't sleep in your makeup. There you go. If you have any questions over my cycle or some of my favorites, if you're looking for a particular for your skin type, what would I choose for you for this category, just holler at me down in the comments or shoot me an email. I'm happy to help. I love helping you guys find your perfect skincare routine. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and being here. I'll see you next week. Love you.